Get
grounded, backhanded by Donaldson, off balance throw to first. They got him.
Oh boy, that ball is crushed to left field, and that ball is way gone.
It is Tuesday, June 6th, and the White Sox were in town to take on the Yankees in the first game of a homestand and the first game of a 3-game set. Clark Schmidt was on the mound looking to continue his string of impressive performances. We'll tell you how it shook out. My recap and your reactions coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Welcome back, everybody. Got to make a quick correction on the screen. Clark Schmidt only had 1 strikeout. I have him as having 2. I just double-checked the box score. But overall, not a great night for the New York Yankees. You know it's a tough night when, before the game, you're saying, please don't cancel this game. Please don't cancel this game. You know, you got yesterday off, and they had such great momentum, but the sky was very cloudy. Well, not cloudy. It was smoky. And the AAA game got canceled. So you thought that maybe they would postpone this one, but they ended up playing, and it did not work out for the Yankees. Kieran says, are you worried we can't hit good pitching? Well, that's what makes good pitching good, is that it's tough to hit. Nobody really hits good pitching. Good pitching always beats good hitting. That's the phrase in baseball. But yes, this Yankees team is in general built to hit home runs. And the way they're going to rack up wins is hitting home runs off of mediocre pitchers during the summer. That's the way they do it most years. You know, they generally start off slow. Then when the weather heats up, the bats heat up, you start seeing a lot more home runs. They led the league in home runs in May. But then when you get to the playoffs, you see that great pitching in cool weather again. And that's why the Yankees ultimately usually come up short. That and failing to hit with runners in scoring position. But with great pitching, generally, you don't get many runners in scoring position. So yeah, if you missed the game tonight and you're wondering why the highlights look so hazy, the entire East Coast is essentially engulfed in smoke because of the fires in Canada. No confirmation on this, but it sounds like Arson Judge is wanted for question.
What?
By Canadian authorities. Paul O'Neill put it best. It truly felt like Gotham City tonight. It had that Tim Burton Batman feel to it. There was some doubt as to whether we would play, and I really didn't think that we would, and I kind of wish we hadn't. Aaron Judge was out of the lineup, and the lineup was, dead in the water, essentially, as they usually are when he's not in there. Sounds like he's still having issues with that toe, although they did say it's feeling better. They had a specialist in to look at it today. We saw last year with DJ LeMahieu how tough toe injuries can be to play through. So hopefully it's just a bruise and he can get back in there soon. But, as I've said on the show many, many times, I have zero faith in 2 things. The Yankees doctor's ability to diagnose the injuries properly. And 2, the Yankees' ability to tell the truth about it. Those are 2 things that no matter what answers we get tonight or tomorrow, I'm not going to feel confident in. So we wait. You might hear something on the post-game show on Yes. If it's bad news, that would explain why the Yankees had zero energy tonight. I mean, they looked like they didn't want to be there. Clark Schmidt was back on the mound. It wasn't too long ago that we dreaded every time that he pitched. But lately, he's been pretty good. And tonight, his stuff was not bad at all. He just had no answer for White Sox catcher Sebi Zavala. Both teams were quiet early. White Sox struck first on a short porch, easy for me to say, short porch home run by Zavala in the top of the third. It was a pop-up, essentially. The Yankees have hit some of those, but this was the shortest home run in Yankee Stadium all season, 320 feet. But he was not done, and he made up for it later. In the bottom of the fourth, Anthony Volpe walked and then stole second base on the first pitch. 14th straight steal to begin his career. First stolen base since May 13th. Got to be on base to steal bases, and he has not been on base a lot, over that time. He's hit some big home runs, but he's not getting a lot of walks, not getting a lot of singles. In the top of the 5th inning, Josh Donaldson made a Gold Glove caliber play at third base. It was one of those choppers down the line. If you watch the intro, you saw it. His momentum carried him into foul territory. He threw kind of across his body and made a terrific throw. Lots of arm strength. I remember a couple of years ago, he was playing through some shoulder pain, and he could not throw from third base to first base. So I'm genuinely surprised that his arm is still as good as it is. Later in the inning, though, Sebi Zavala connected for a long 2-run home run. That was that. That was the game. Clark Schmidt was done after 6 innings. He allowed 3 runs, so it was officially a quality start, but I think he wanted that second home run back. Lucas Giolito was beyond filthy tonight. Beyond filthy. I mean, this is the best I've seen him. Next level. 6 no-hit innings, but he had to come out of the game because his pitch count was too high. Regardless of the pitch count, I think if they left him in there, he would have made it. I think he would have gotten it. The Yankees didn't get their first hit or first run until the 7th inning. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa ripped this double into the left. You see the center fielder kind of give up on it. Probably could have caught it. That scored a run, and that was off of Joe Kelly. That cut the lead to 3-1. Next batter was Trevino. He picked up a base hit to right field on a line drive to Clint Frazier. Yes, that Clint Frazier.
I'm an average nobody.
By the way, Aaron Hicks hit a 2-run home run for the Orioles tonight. I'm pretty sure Clint Frazier is going to torch us at some point in this series. Just as Joey Gallo did, just as Sonny Gray did. You know it's coming. Either that or Benintendi. Jake Bauers came up as the go-ahead run. He should have drawn a walk to load the bases for Gleyber Torres, but this was the turning point of the game. And once again, it was the umpires. Blew a call on ball 4, at least 4 or 5 inches off the plate outside. He ended up bouncing out to short, and that was that. Liam Hendricks came in to face the Yankees in the bottom of the 9th. He just came back from cancer not too long ago. Josh Donaldson welcomed him back with a solo home run, 4th of the season, 3rd since coming back off the IL. I got to say, the bat speed looks better to me. I'm starting to believe he's playing confidently on defense. Look, he looks good. He looks good, and we want that. No matter how much crap we talked about him last year, we root for the jersey. And if a guy's playing good, we got to root for him, and he's looked good. The Yankees came up short, 3-2. White Sox take game 1.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
All right, we have some updates on Aaron Judge. This is not good news. Judge has a contusion and a sprain of the ligament in his toe, and he is going to the injured list.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
That's no good, man. That's no good. We're going to be without him for a bit. Doesn't sound like a quick heal kind of injury when you start saying ligaments. You know, when I hear toe, I think theory of everything. That's the acronym for toe, for theory of everything, toe. I spent a lot of time thinking about that. And my theory is that everything is fucked. All right, we got to talk about the folks over at Game Time. You guys did such a great job with the Game Time sponsor last month that they're back for the next couple of weeks. So we're going to move the ads to the middle of the show so we can get into the show a little bit quicker at the beginning. But the Game Time app is great. I've used it. It's an app to get tickets to local events, sports, concerts, music, all that stuff at extremely low prices. It's seamless. It's convenient. I mean, you just click on it, the tickets come right to your email. And if you use the code NYY Recaps, you can save $20 on your first purchase. Download the fastest growing ticket app in the country and find out why it is so popular. Lowest price on last minute tickets guaranteed. Frankie Baseball says that Hannibal Lecter is a better doctor than anyone on the Yankees. Guys, that Hannibal show, not the movies. The movies were good, but the Hannibal show, the guy who played Hannibal, Mads Mikkelsen, was so creepy. I still have nightmares about that show. George Bornman says, bring up Peraza. Where are you going to play him? I mean, unless you're taking over for Volpe or taking over for Gleyber Torres, who, despite 0 for 4 in 3 straight games, been swinging the bat pretty good lately. I don't know. Jacob D says the Empire has fallen, but the Empire will return. Rolly says, remember how we looked with no Judge early in the season? It was not good. Look, this doesn't sound like 10 days. When you're saying ligaments, you start talking weeks. You start talking 4 weeks, 6 weeks. Contusion, obviously, that's a fancy word for bruise. I hate the word contusion. You know, what's his name? Mark Twain said, Mark Twain said, never buy Metropolis when you can get City for the same price. So why don't you just call it a bruise? Parks and Young says the outfield was Bowers, IKF, and Calhoun. I tell you what, IKF been swinging the bat pretty good, and he looked good in center field tonight. Made a nice running catch in the right center field gap. But you're right. Without Judge, without Bader, I mean, you didn't have a left fielder to begin with. Now you got essentially no real outfielders out there. Yankees Judge says Yankees love solo shots, and you are not wrong, my friend. Hi 1237 says bring up Jason. I was just watching Jason play not too long ago during this game, and he struck out when I was watching. Struck out looking, hitting 206 right now. Not doing well. However, he does hit the ball hard. He's hit into some bad luck. He's drawing a lot of walks, hitting for power from both sides of the plate. He's got 8 home runs. But also in Double-A, this is something that a lot of people don't realize. They're experimenting with all sorts of different rules, different baseballs. It's a different ball game down there. I don't know if they're going to bring Jason up this summer, but if they do, I think it'll be after August 17th, because at that point, he won't accrue the service time that he would accrue if you bring him up now. So, you know, I don't think the Yankees have anything to lose by letting him marinate in the minors for a couple of months. Doesn't sound like he's 100% ready, but he's coming. We saw it in spring training. He's for real. Frankie says it rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. Danny Orero says, was that Koufax on the mound for the White Sox? You know, I got to say, I've never been super impressed by Giolito. He's got kind of a funky arm motion to me. He used to be very, very short-armed. He's gotten a little bit better at that. But a very good curveball. Never really had great command. But tonight, he was just pitching confidently and, you know, just dominated. Sometimes you run into a buzzsaw. The Yankees ran into a couple of buzzsaws on their recent road trip. Gary Wanamaker says, who has not been on the IL this year besides Cole? You know, I do think that we have to mention Garrett Cole has been extremely durable. You know, Jacob deGrom today, we found out that he's getting Tommy John surgery. And, I mean, everybody could see that coming. It's going to be his second Tommy John surgery. He had one in the minor leagues, I believe. But you can have 2 Tommy John surgeries and still, you know, pitch. It happened with Jameson Taillon, I believe. Nathan Eovaldi also had multiple Tommy John surgeries. And yeah, he's on a heck of a year for the Texas Rangers. But Jacob deGrom is one of those guys. He's kind of like the pitching version of Giancarlo Stanton to me. You know, Giancarlo really pushes the limits of the human body physically. He hits the ball harder than anybody. He's just a giant, muscle-bound, you know, he's like a human hammer. You know, he's just ridiculous. And I feel like Jacob deGrom is the same way. He's obviously not as ripped and as cut as Giancarlo, but his arm is so good that it's pushing the boundaries of what humans can do. They did a test. I think I read this in the original Moneyball book. It might have been a different book, but it might have been Moneyball. They did a bunch of tests on human cadavers to find out, you know, at what point does the arm give out throwing a baseball? And generally around like 108, 109 miles an hour, the arm just explodes. The shoulder just blows up. So that's why you don't see guys throwing that hard. But, you know, he's a guy who consistently throws over 100 miles an hour. And that can't be good for your arm. It can't be good for your elbow. Can't be good for your shoulder. It's an unnatural motion. Tabor says, how long on the IL? Could be a month. That's the thing. You don't know. I'm glad it's not a break. I'm glad it's not a break, because when you're talking about a guy who weighs 300 pounds, essentially, he's probably 290, maybe 285, whatever, 300 for all and you can round it to 300. Who knows how a broken bone is going to heal when you're putting all that weight on it? You know, I feel like it would take longer for him to come back from a broken toe than from something like a ligament and a bruise. I'm worried there's a hairline fracture. That's probably what the Yankees were worried about and why they had a specialist come in. But like I said, I have absolutely no faith in our doctors to figure out what's wrong. Zero. None. Nada. Anyway. DeGrom gets hurt, and in related news, Nick Cannon having another kid. Congrats to Nick Cannon. Look, the man should wrap it up. The man should, wear his thinking cap. I guess when you got that much money, though, you can just, it doesn't matter, how much child support you have to pay and how many kids you got to put through college or private school or buy Air Jordans for, or, Nintendo Switch, or, take to Disney World, whatever you got to do for these kids. I guess it doesn't matter when you just have unlimited funds like that. DeGrom is this generation's Mark Pryor. Excellent analogy. Mark Pryor was one of those guys who essentially blew through the minor leagues. If you go back and look at his minor league numbers, I guarantee he wasn't in the minor leagues more than a year. He came out of college and just buzzed through the minor leagues. And he had what's called an inverted W, so it's hard for me to show on this little screen, but if you look at how I'm posing, if you picture this this arm motion, how it's kind of it's an inverted W. That is supposedly the worst possible form that you can have to throw a baseball, and people were concerned about that from the very beginning. Ironically, now he's a pitching coach because he had to do a lot to try and figure out, what's causing all these injuries. He had to really understand his mechanics. And now he's a pitching coach.
Game over, man. Game over.
Jake Block bringing up Hicks's 2-run home run. Don't remind us. Darth says we need Dr. Pepper on our medical staff ASAP. Franchi Cordero will return. Samantha says, ligaments take longer to heal than breaks. That sounds like you know what you're talking about. I really don't when it comes to ligaments and things like that. So I'm going to take your word for it, but it does not sound great. Anyway, Tommy Higgs says, now with Judge on the IL, do you think an early trade could be in play? I think an early Stanton return to right field could be in play. I would love to see him get another bat, but who are you going to get to replace Aaron Judge? You cannot replace Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge last year was as good as pretty much, 2 MVP caliber players. He had an 11 WAR. If a guy has a 5.5 WAR, you're thinking, man, what a great season. And he doubled that. How do you replace that? I don't think you can. Bernie says, what was Stanton swinging at tonight? Stanton either hits homers or strikes out. Stanton is one of those guys who can be extremely streaky. For weeks, he will be unstoppable. And then all of a sudden, like flipping a light switch, he won't have a clue for another month. You just hope that he can get hot and stay hot, because he's a guy who can carry you while Judge is out. If he goes on one of those nuclear Stanton ballistic streaks for 2 weeks where he hits, 7 home runs, Yanks might rattle off a win streak. They're getting decent pitching. You just need more offense. And that's been the story all season. Dr. Hitskin says another injury waiting to happen. Could be. I hope not. You just gotta hope that he can figure out how to play hurt. James Brinn wants to get Nootbaar. Lars Nootbaar, also injured with a back injury. He ran into a wall, I believe Kansas City. If you didn't see that video, I put out a video yesterday about 5 potential trade targets that I would go after. Now, these are not trades that I've read about. These are not trades that I've heard, Max Goodman or Jack Curry or Brian Hoke ponder. These are just, looking around the league, these are some guys that I would fit. That's why, I included Alex Verdugo, which is a huge reach. I mean, it's not going to happen. But I thought he would be a decent fit. And if somebody else trades for Verdugo, then maybe you think about it. Although, I'm not sure how the gold teeth or whatever, the mouthpiece that he wears with all the jewels would play in New York. The Yankees don't really like that type of flair. That's why they don't have names on the back of their jerseys. They like it to be about the team and not about individual stuff. So anyway, guys, Tommy Hicks says Yanks need another Edwin Encarnacion type deal. I would love that, but there's not a lot of those guys out there. Burnt balls. Oh man. Says let Hicks keep his facial hair. Yeah, he's rocking the beard with Baltimore. It's funny. I put together an AI imagined scenario of Aaron Hicks getting released, and it gave him a beard. It was like it magically knew that he was gonna have a beard instantaneously. All right, guys, this was a tough one, 3-2, and then obviously the horrible Aaron Judge news. All we can hope for is that he returns with he returns quickly and he returns healthy and doesn't have this be a lingering problem. I think you can say goodbye to 50 home runs now. But, yeah, tough night. Sleep well, everybody. Ball game over.
Most impressive.